let's talk about what sort of these, again, taking that same expression, and let's talk about what each sort of individual part would be thought of or considered. Okay, each individual part that's separated by the pluses here or minuses is going to be called a term. Okay, so the terms have degrees, okay, and the degree of the term has to do with the power of its variable. Okay, so this here has no power, no variable power, so this is called a 0 degree term. Okay, this here has an x to the unwritten power of 1, and so that's also its degree. Okay, so this is considered a first degree term. Okay, or a degree of 1. Okay, so this would be a degree of what? 2. So second degree. Okay, and then this is just nth degree. Okay, so the degree is of an individual term is whatever the power is. Okay, when you're talking about the 0 degree term, this is also called a constant. Okay, so if you have a term with a degree of 0, it may also be referred to as a constant. And so what you're going to be asked to do is identify these three things. Given an expression, you're going to be asked to identify the degree of the polynomial. So each individual term has a degree. The degree of the polynomial itself is equal to the highest degree term. And whatever the highest degree term is, that's the degree of your polynomial. So you're going to be asked these three things. Given a polynomial expression, okay, find the degree, the leading term. Okay, the leading term is going to be the highest degree term, okay, because when you write your polynomial, you'll always write it from the highest power to the lowest power. Okay, so that's why this is n. It would go n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, and so on, and then until it winds up to 1 and 0. And then it stops because you can't have any negative powers. Okay, so the leading term is going to be the term in front of your expression when you order them from highest to lowest degree. And then each of these individual terms has potentially has a portion that's multiplied in front of the x, and that's called your coefficient. Okay, so the last little piece is each of these multipliers labeled a to the n, a base, or a2, a1, a0. Each of those numbers is also called a coefficient. Okay, so every individual term has a coefficient, and the leading coefficient is going to be the coefficient of whatever the first term is. Okay. Now, when you're looking at something, so I'm going to take this expression as an example here. If I take a function 2x squared plus 5x minus x cubed plus 1. Okay, so if I take this expression right here and I ask you those three things, okay, what is the degree of this polynomial? The degree is the highest power, so that's going to be what? 3. Again, it's not in order, right? What you would do, if you were writing this as a polynomial, you would rewrite it so that the highest degree is written first, and then you move down from there. And so this would be the reordering of these. So you would think of it in this order first, and then you can answer the question. So the degree is 3. The leading term would be what? The entire term that's in front, and that includes the coefficient and the variable. So negative x cubed is your leading term, and the leading coefficient would be just the multiplier in front of the x cubed, so negative 1. Even though it's an unwritten 1 there, it's just the negative sign. It represents negative 1. Okay, so I want you to see if you can answer these two questions here really quickly. Okay, work through and find the degree, leading term, and leading coefficient for each of those polynomials. Okay, so for this first polynomial, this first expression, what's the degree? Highest power is 9. What's the leading term? The entire term, 8p to the 9th. And then finally, the leading coefficient is just the multiplier in front of the variable, so 8. Okay, in the second example, it's still written in order. It's written in the order from highest to lowest. So the degree is 7. The leading term is the whole term, 6w to the 7th. And then finally, the leading coefficient is just a multiplier in front, which is 6. Again, pretty straightforward.